Continuing our reading in the Bushman's Guide, today's reading is STURT'S Depot Glen. That's S-T-U-R-T. In 1844, one of Australia's greatest explorers, Captain Charles Sturt, set out on his last journey of discovery to find what rivers might be flowing to the northward in the center of Australia. He had a large and well-equipped expedition which included 15 men and with them 11 horses, 30 bullocks, and 200 sheep. They could only move slowly from point to point where water was available. Striking out from Adelaide, they followed the Murray and Darling rivers and then turned northward from where the township of Menindee now stands. Passing slowly along the stony hills of the Barrier Range, they came to the Grey Range and encamped in a gorge which Sturt called Depot Glen. It had a good supply of water, but soon they made a terrible discovery. There was no water ahead, and a fierce summer had already dried up the water behind them. They were caught in a trap. "The truth flashed across my mind," wrote Sturt, and I quote, "and it became evident to me that we were locked up in that desolate and heated region, as effectively as if we had wintered at the pole. It was long indeed ere I could bring myself to believe that so great a misfortune had befallen us, but so it was. Providence had its all-wise purposes, guided us to the only spot in that widespread desert where our wants could be permanently supplied, but had there stayed our progress into a region that almost appears to be forbidden ground." End of quote. For 6 months the party was imprisoned there in terrible heat and discomfort. The birds flew away to other parts. The leaves dropped from trees and bushes. Knife handles split and the lead fell out of their pencils. Scurvy attacked, and the water supply was at last nearly exhausted. Then, when hope seemed to have fled and despair was settling down on the apparently doomed men, there came the wonderful sound of rain, light at first, but soon a great downpour. The drought was broken, and the prison of Depot Glen was opened. But the prison had also been their salvation, and the great explorer at the head of the expedition recognized the hand of God in this deliverance, first in guiding them to Depot Glen and then preventing them from going elsewhere. If our eyes could be opened, we too could see the signs of God's hand in our own lives, sometimes helping, sometimes halting our progress. Surely few who read these pages can fail to see across the past years the traces of a guiding, restraining hand. A bushman whom we knew had a habit of reading in bed in his hut. Nearby on a box his tin of tobacco rested. He used to put out his hand and take the tin without looking around. One night when he was about to do this, something restrained him. He looked around first and saw a black snake coiled and ready to receive visitors, just where he would have put his hand. Who put that warning into his mind? Such incidents could be easily multiplied. Perhaps you too have been saved from disaster in a most unexpected way. You have been checked when temptation called you on to do some evil thing. Perhaps someone appeared when you did not want to see him, and you were unable to do what you had purposed. It may have been a missed appointment, a sickness, or an accident, or some other obstruction in the chosen course. The presence of a good woman, the sight of an innocent little child, the sound of an old hymn, the memory of a mother's love, the sight of a church building or a Bible, or any of 1,000 other things used to hinder designs that may have spelt disaster, death, or ruin. It may have caused annoyance or seemed a heavy blow. You may have fretted against the prison of circumstances as did the explorers in Depot Glen. But the blocking of the way may be your salvation yet, if the hand of God is in it, preventing something worse and working for the best in the end. Perhaps you're even now in a Depot Glen and cannot attain your greatest desires. It seems a terrible frustration, but is it? The disappointment may be his appointment yet. Right where you are, God is trying to show you the secrets of life and to give you what the world outside can never give. When you have seen His hand at work and learned the great lesson, it will be time for Him to lead you out of those circumstances into a larger, better life of happiness and freedom and usefulness and life that never ends. To God be the glory.